back to having fun repairs. Uh, I've mentioned that I've got a game console, so somewhat unique one, I suppose. I bought it at an outlet mall many years ago. It's FC Twin that plays standard NES cartridges and Super NES cartridges. And I got it simply because of that, because I like actually having physical media versus emulation and ROMs. And my childhood, I grew up on Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and I didn't want to spend the time to buy an old console and refurbish it, so I bought this cheap facsimile thereof. Now, I've never physically been in this thing, so it'd be rather interesting to see the internals, the ICs, the components, how things are set up. But there are some issues with this console, mainly, just through the abuse of play and kids, and moving several times, and this thing being packaged up and shipped out, amongst other things. Stuff like the controllers have, the wires have been pulled out of your COM port or your port there. Same thing at the controller end. Some of the wires are frayed. These are rather easy things that I can repair, get the controllers functioning perfectly again. The quality, I suppose, is alright. I mean, it's been forever since I held basically a Super Nintendo controller, so I don't really remember how the buttons and everything felt. This rather cheap plastic. Kind of vaguely remember that these buttons were rubber instead of plastic. I could be mistaken. But it serves its purpose, and the kids do enjoy playing some Donkey Kong Country. But the main things I need to repair outside of the controllers, either controller 2 or controller 1 down here, there's an issue with the power switch here. This power switch serves 3 purposes. One to supply power or turn that power off. It's also your selector switch between 16-bit, which would be your SNES cartridges, and then your 8-bit NES cartridges. Now, when I switched over to 8-bit, that cartridge immediately pops up. I can hit the reset button on it, and it comes right up. But as I go down to the 16-bit on the selector switch, it's not coming up, and hit the reset button, you can see that it resets. But that's not due to an issue with the switch itself. More than likely, the contacts for this cartridge just need to be cleaned out with some IPA. But when you turn this off, it doesn't really. You got hard movement. You can feel a strong contact when you go between 16-bit and 8-bit. If I put it down to 16-bit, I wiggle it. That light is steady. When I go off, sometimes it doesn't really give a hard physical movement to the off position. As you can see, just by wiggling it a little bit, the power light comes back on. I can see some things changing on the display, so that tells me that there's an issue with this selector switch here. That's primarily what I want to try to sort out if I can, because I don't want this thing just randomly drawing power. See, look, now I had it off and I had to touch it again. Just randomly drawing power. I want it, when it's in the off position, to physically disconnect. As far as cleaning the ports inside of here, don't mind me using the phone to do a recording, so my fingers keep getting in the way. You don't want to blow into the cartridge. Now, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. Look, the original owner was there. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. Maybe that was the original owner. But even when I was a kid, I used to blow in here to try to blow the dust out. But when you're doing that, you're actually, when you breathe into here, you're creating moisture on these contacts, which isn't good. What you want to use is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And you can use a liberal amount. It doesn't really matter. You want to clean the contacts by running your Q-tip up and along the inside of here. Now I'm going to put this down for a minute. Hopefully I can get it to stay up. I'll bring this here. I'm just going to clean all these contacts on the game, and you know, you can see a little bit of dirt and debris, you know, a little bit of oxidation coming off the contacts. After cleaning, wiping them down with IPA, and we'll cotton bud, get them cleaned. And I'm not using 70% IPA. You know, want to get something that's going to evaporate quickly. 90% or higher, using 99% isopropyl alcohol. You know, try to get this soaked a little bit heavily so I can insert it into the front. Let's see if that's done anything different. Alright, turned it on. Yeah, immediately came up that time. Off. On. Reset. Still working. 8-bit. Oh, yeah. Stick that game cartridge back in. Hit the reset button. Might need to do the same thing for it. Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll just take this apart and clean all the contacts with the main console torn apart. Probably be a good idea just to get in here and do some preventive maintenance cleaning inside anyways. And then we'll address the switch at the same time. And then the last item we'll do is we'll work on repairing these controllers to get them working the way they were when I originally bought it. Alright, so I got it out, got it on my bench. Let's see, Yobo Gameware. I'm not even sure if these things are being sold anymore. It's nice that the cartridge ports have a dust cover, so that does help with keeping dirt and debris from getting down into these cartridge ports. I'll probably use some electronic contact cleaner on them versus IPA to get them clean. I know it dries rather quickly too. You know, it's dirty. I'll clean it up at the end. Let's see. Stickers. Kind of weird. I'm not feeling any screws underneath it, so I think we're going to be okay with not removing the sticker. Let's see. FC Twin system NTSC. Let's see. Rating DC 10 volts, 600 milliamp. Use FC Twin AC adapter. You got a little positive is on the outside of the DC adapter, negative is on the inside. So it's not AC going directly into here. When I pulled it out, and you know, I forget often how things are hooked up in my house, but there's a little AC to DC adapter. But you just need a 10 volt adapter, 600 milliamps. Center pin is the negative on the adapter, and the outer pin is positive. That's it's not typical. Most times the center pin is positive, the outer metal sleeve is negative. But it all depends. You know, those are just things you need to keep be aware of if you ever replace a DC adapter power supply. Looks like there's just 4 screws on the bottom. Look to be Phillips or something close to that. Hopefully we don't have to remove these rubber pads here to find more screws, but what I'm going to do is remove the 4 screws from the bottom and see if this can be pried open. I'll do that off camera real quick. Alright, 4 screws removed, and looks like this top cover comes out. Hold on a second. I'm home alone with 2 of my 4 kids. Just dropped my oldest son off for kindergarten, and then our newborn baby is at her 2-week appointment. I'm gonna see what they need real quick and come back. Alright, so now we got this thing open. I'm gonna take the camera off of this little stand that I made shift. I want to zoom around the board a little bit and just look over a couple components. Zoom in. And you know, some of this is pretty shoddy. There's a lot of flux residue on the board from when it was soldered at the factory. Yeah, hot glue holding in your LED indicators and some tape. Same thing here at the bottom of the board, on the main board itself. It appears that you have some diode protection. I've seen similar diode protection on some radios. It was used for inside an EMI filter in case there was transient voltage that came in. The diodes would blow, preventing any voltage from reaching the internals. They would break in as an open, not allowing any electrical current through. You've got some crystals. Same here. Some of this is kind of weird with the crystal so far removed from the board. Same with these capacitors here. Legs of that one fairly close to touching, but not quite. I don't know what the intent would be for that, why they're not just flush, unless if it's purposely raised up to hook onto a frequency counter for testing. Let's see, you have TCT 978, that would be your CPU. 975, 976 would be your PPU. What's this? This looks like some CMOS SRAM, some kind of generic HY62 UF 8100. Then your RAM, you Samsung chips here. Yeah, so this would be, obviously this is the Super NES board. Then you have your NES board. Nice little blob. Comparator circuitry, brain box. This is going to emulate the entire NES portion. On-off switch, and we'll get everything cleaned up and reset switch, try to make it work better. Then on the back side, your power board and some other things it looks like. Let's see if I can turn the camera light on. And you have KA7805. Look it up. It's probably MOSFET used for power regulation. Have a nice little Sony chip here. What is this one? CXA1645M. It's probably an RGB encoder. I believe this is your RGB encoder. Pin 1 down here. So more than likely 2, 3, and 4 will be your red, green, and blue in. For component, 12 pin, 24 pin. So the opposite side of those pins would be your out. You have some modulators in here, some other circuitry that's going to take component and turn it into composite out. So you could modify the system for a component picture. I don't think that would take too much work, and obviously it'd be a better picture than composite. We're gonna get the board cleaned up. We're gonna clean up all the pins inside of here and see if it works a little bit better. Relatively simple things here. A little bit of electronic cleaner, contact cleaner, and a switch. We're gonna move it around. It will evaporate. Should clean out those contacts. Put a little bit down inside of here. All right, allow it to evaporate. And start cleaning up the board a bit. Some IPA. Get rid of this leftover flux and chunks we're seeing from where this was produced. Pretty sure this console was made in China. Probably reading that online. Yeah, it's quite dirty. Yeah, entire inside is like very dirty. All right. I soaked one side of this index card with some IPA. Gonna run it in and out of here. Get a little more width. Let's try to get these things cleaned out pretty good. And let's see. I'll do the same thing for this side over here. I sprayed contact cleaner in there, but works as a good flush. It does clean, but if there's any debris left over, this should pull that out of there. Alright, I'm going to get a paper towel and just a little bit of IPA, clean up the plastic a bit, throw it together. Obviously very dirty in there. All right. Make sure I got a switch set in there the right way. Put it all the way off, put this all the way down. Sure this. Feels like it's moving back and forth a little more correctly. We'll throw these screws in and put it back on TV, at least see if it switches between the 8-bit cartridge and a 16-bit cartridge better. So I'll put the screws in back off camera and connect it up to the TV. We'll see how it does. Alright, turn off the light. So cleaning it has helped improve that off switch a little bit. You can see the light's not coming on. See, we'll put it up into 16-bit. You can see it's coming up on the screen. I'll switch it over to the 8-bit. Hold on a second, Ian. And the Nintendo game is coming up. Switch back over here. Got my kids surrounding me. They're eagerly anticipating wanting to play. And we'll turn it off.